I want to show you how I used glitter vinyl to make a tumbler. It is such a fun way to honestly make one of the easiest cups I've ever made without sacrificing that glitter feel and shine. I used the glitter vinyl from Craft Haven. She has all sorts of different colors, and this one worked perfectly, and I thought it would look really good on like a Halloween style tumbler too. So if you're looking to get into Halloween, I would check out this vinyl. I will link it below, as well as a discount code. I love using glitter, don't get me wrong, but it is really nice to be able to get a glitter cup without actually using glitter or making any mess with your glitter. Hit that thumbs up button if you also love glitter but sometimes hate the mess. I'm going to show you the steps of this tumbler. It is so easy and something you can make very quickly. Let's get started. So I started with a template. I actually cut the vinyl after measuring my tumbler. You can get this free underneath this video if you just click the link. And I just used my regular vinyl setting, and you can see that it has the notches cut out for you. You can use your scissors as well. You don't have to cut it with your Silhouette or Cricut, but it's just easier for me to make sure that it lines up and a little less work in the end. So it'll line up really nicely around the handles, and from there I like to tape it in place. I'm just using blue painter's tape, and it's really just to get this staying where it needs to be so I can actually attach my vinyl without the whole thing moving. So once you kind of hinge it down, I like to peel away just about like an inch from the edge. You can peel away as much or as little as you want, but about an inch is generally good because then you want to pull it nice and tight and get it exactly where you want it to be, and then you have one edge nice and secure. If there's any overlap, you may need to move the opposite edge out of the way. So once you get that down, you need to attach your vinyl, and you want to do this with as little or as few bubbles as possible. I'm going to link a video of me using the wet method if you are having trouble with your bubbles, but hinging this down and just going nice and slow with a lot of pressure with the squeegee tool and moving it just slowly, inch by inch. It really helps get it nice and smooth. I very rarely have any issues with bubbles, but I think it also can depend on the vinyl and the brand and the quality of what you're using. So just keep that in mind. Go through and squeegee this on, and it should line up perfectly with those notches that you initially cut. If you need to fix any imperfections, you can kind of stab any bubbles or imperfections with your X-Acto knife and smooth it out. I also needed to trim a little bit along the top. I like to make sure that I have a little bit of the tumbler showing. Again, with the template, like, you could make it a little bit smaller, but it really depends on what you're going for with your tumbler. So I trim along the top, and then I can move on with the tumbler. You can see that it looks super nice, and I decided you could leave the handle if you wanted, but I decided to apply vinyl. And there could be a better way to do this, but what I did was I just held it up to my tumbler and cut about a little bit wider than the actual size of the handle, and I just cut a rectangle out of the vinyl, and I'm going to apply it just from top to bottom. I did cut a little bit off the end so I didn't have so much vinyl to work with. So I peeled back a little bit of the edge and I just stuck it above where the handle meets the tumbler, and I kind of applied it in the similar way that I do the rest of the vinyl. I'm just going to peel it back and get it all smooth over this handle. And then I'm basically going to wrap it around the handle. But something that helps is I needed to trim a little bit off the top and the bottom. And then I made a couple slits around those corners so it could lay flat. This is my second time trying it, and I didn't slit the vinyl the first time, and it was a little bit bumpy. So making those slits just allows your vinyl to lay smooth around the entire handle. And it looks like seamless and part of your tumbler. The second part of this is with sort of a night sky. I got this forest night sky decal from Creative Fabrica, and I opened it in Silhouette Studio. This is an SVG file. You could do this with your Cricut, whatever you have. I highly recommend using the Silhouette software if you are able. And what I did was I uploaded the image, made it the size that I wanted, and I knew I wanted it to say Wonder, and I sort of just played around with some of the fonts. I didn't know exactly, what I wanted it to look like, so I just played around and got it to where I wanted it to be. So this font is called Handmade Wanderlust, and I will link it underneath this video. Then I need to decide what color decals I wanted to use. I'm using vinyl. All of this vinyl is from Craft Haven, and I didn't want it to be like super standoutish. I really wanted it to kind of blend in with the vinyl, like so you could see it, but also so it, I don't know, I didn't want it to like be like a neon pink with this. So I tried this blue and it just like wasn't working for me. So I went in and tried it again, and I created an offset in Silhouette Studio. And I decided to go with a kind of rainbow chrome that I highly recommend. It is super cute. It was super easy to weed, which is always a good thing. This design didn't take too long. So I decided to use this rainbow chrome opal situation in the back and black on top. And that way the black was similar to the background color, but the offset allowed it to pop. And it was, it just took some trial and error to figure out what color combination that I wanted to do. And I just wanted to show you that because it's not always perfect the first time. So I layered my vinyl first. I like to layer it before I put it on my tumbler, and I'm using parchment paper to get it lined up perfectly because the vinyl does not stick to the parchment paper. So once you get that layered and remove the backing, remember sometimes it's a pain, use your squeegee tool and it helps to remove the paper from the back versus the vinyl from the paper. I usually try to eyeball when I apply my vinyl, but I put that first one on crooked, so I used my ruler, and with the handle, it's tough to do it with the cup laying down. So I applied the vinyl, and it looks really, really good. I love the chrome in the back, and a few pieces didn't weed correctly, so I just fixed those once it was on the tumbler. And then I went in with my coats of Grand Finale. I am using the new Grand Finale from the CrystaLac Company. My cup turner was being a little weird, the one that I used to film, so I decided to just put it on with my hand and holding the tumbler. And you just want to use enough to cover the tumbler. You can use your whole hand to spread it out. And then I let this spin for 2 hours so it could fully dry before I recoat it. I did 3 coats of the Grand Finale before I moved on with the process. After you do about 3 coats of the Grand Finale, I sanded over just the decal to help smooth it out a little bit faster. I'm using the 400 grit sandpaper from the CrystaLac Company, and I just needed to sand it a little bit smooth, and I'm using the surface conditioner to clean up the tumbler. And then I went back in with more Grand Finale. Did 3 more coats of Grand Finale. Just remember, when you use a cup with a handle, it helps to do the handle while the cup is not spinning. Get that fully covered and done, and then you can move on with the rest of the tumbler. So after that sand, I did 3 more coats of Grand Finale. Make sure you wait 2 hours in between each coat before you reapply. So this cup has 6 coats total of the Grand Finale, and it is done. So it is super quick to get this cup complete when you use the glitter vinyl. I absolutely love how it turned out. It is super shiny. I think the decal really pops, and I love the camper mugs. If you want to see another tutorial with a camper mug, I will link it on your screen right now.